5 years in the army, driving a tank when he was 18 years old, doing amazing things, traveling the world, being with friends, enjoying life. But guess what? He came back after to real life and something crazy happened. Not crazy good, crazy bad. Make sure to listen to this interview till the end with Jason. Thank you very much for coming to my podcast. I have a question. Can you share with us more about yourself? What is it you do? What is your mission or maybe vision, maybe where you've been in the past, so we can get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, great. Thanks for asking me to come on as well, Vincent. It's a pleasure. So what I do at the moment is a wellness life coach and speaker. And the reason I'm a life coach and speaker is because of the purpose and the passion that I would suggest found me many years ago. Because of a dark place that I found myself in many, many years ago. We're going back pre-2010. And if we go back even further, I was a happy-go-lucky guy that joined the army when I was a young guy. Lived the life, I didn't have a care in the world. I was driving a tank. At 18 years old, right? Who gets to do that? Traveling the world. I had the friendships. I had a roof over my head. I just didn't bother about anything. And having all sorts of adventures, traveling the world. And then I came out of the army, and then I got into this, societal expectations. What does society expect from us? And I really didn't cope. To be fair, I didn't cope with life after coming out of the army, because if you can imagine, I was in the army for 5 years in an establishment that where every need is taken care of. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think, really. You're just doing it. And so you come out and you have to then live life and start creating your own life. And I really didn't cope with that. I was in a relationship for 17 years. Actually, it was a marriage for 17 years. And I felt there was more to my life than what I was living at the time. And I felt trapped with quite a number of things. And my mental health started to deteriorate because of this. I had a business at the time, and it was going downhill rapidly, and I just really didn't cope, and I didn't have the coping mechanisms to deal with all these things that were surrounding me. Like it was almost like a metaphorical brick wall that was being built, or I was building this, and I didn't have the tools to deal with them. And then all of a sudden it came crashing down. The weight of it came crashing down on top of me, and it just shattered my mental health. So that's the brief outline of it. I mean, there's a lot more darker details in there. It depends how far you want me to go with it.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing. I really appreciate that you are opening up. Few things, obviously, you mentioned in here. One of the things you mentioned that the business was going downwards. What did you do? What kind of a business did you have?
So I was a pretty safe, average kind of guy. Really didn't have big ambitions for doing anything entrepreneurial, if you like. And I just had a painting and decorating business, just going out there and painting people's houses and what have you. But just getting by and playing it safe, and not just earning enough money to get through life, if you like. So but I wasn't like the person I am today. I didn't have the business acumen.
Yes.
About how to develop a business, or how to market a business.
Yeah.
And so it was just a case of me living through word of mouth on that, and getting by from one job to the next, and because I think I was in this trapped environment, I really didn't give a crap anymore about anything. And so that, as well as everything else, was going down the pan.
Yeah. thank you very much for sharing that, because I see a lot of people today, and I've been in the same shoes. We think like we open a business, like you mentioned, you've been a painter and decorator. I used to have a food truck business, but I kind of knew how to cook, but I didn't know anything else about the business. And there's much more to it if you want to develop it, scale it, right, and be successful. So thank you very much for sharing that with that type of business as well, because I know there is so many people trying to, build it up, but they are actually not sure how. Also, you mentioned that you felt trapped, when you came back, you had that marriage for 17 years, you had this business, and you felt trapped. But I'm very interesting, how did you get out of that? What helped you, or who helped you? How long was that process? What was going on for you in that situation?
Okay, well, the part B to that story is that I felt trapped and I went downhill, and I was in this marriage, this relationship that I didn't want to be in. And by the way, the relationship wasn't the be all and end all of my mental health. This was adding to everything. And it got to a point in 2010 where everything just got on top of me. And this is where the brick wall just came crashing down. I was living with fears. I was living with limiting beliefs, depression, anxiety. I had £30,000 worth of debt, and I was just transferring balances from one credit card to another just to survive.
Mm.
Um, my phone got cut off. Our house was about to be repossessed. I didn't want to be in this marriage. I told my wife I didn't want to be in it, and then I had the realization of what's going to happen with my daughter, because we had a 5-year-old daughter at the time.
Mm.
How was that going to work out? So all these realizations then just came to a point where it got too much. And it was on a freezing cold night in December 2010, the culmination of everything, where I came home from work one evening and I just closed the door behind me and fell like a sack of coal to the floor, just crying like Niagara Falls. And I just had this intense feeling of seeing no way out. I had no way out of where I was. Of course, retrospectively now there is, because this is what I teach. But in that moment, I saw no way out. And this inner voice just spoke to me, which of course now is my voice. It's our internal voice. Just spoke to me and told me to just do it. Now, that, for the benefit of the listeners, is basically just check out. And that was the only option I saw. So I obliged, and with a bottle of whiskey and tablets, I took the tablets with whiskey and attempted my own life to check out of the world. I didn't want to be here anymore. So that was that, and I did that, and then that was, almost like a turning point in my life. Once I did that and I took the tablets and I laid there, I said goodbye to my daughter. She wasn't there in physical, but I said goodbye to her, emotionally and mentally. I said goodbye to her, and I laid there and I just waited to die.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I'd kind of done it, and I was checking out.
Mm. So what happened after? Because obviously you are here now.
Yeah, I'm pleased to say I was. That's one thing I'm unsuccessful at, which is great for everybody, right? So, cutting the really long story short, after that is that it was almost like I went through a dark night of the soul journey. My inner self started to talk to me. My higher self for those people that believe in things outside of us, whatever it is that you believe in. And it kind of started speaking to me that evening when I was laying in the hospital bed. It started speaking to me in a way that I could understand that you are here to help other people and we are here to help you. Now, of course, I didn't quite understand it way back then. We're talking 2010. But what I did do on that night was make a decision, and that decision was to change my life. The other don't know aspect of this is I didn't know how my life was going to change, just that I had to make the decision. Now, making a decision about anything in life empowers you, right? Whether you know the way forward or whether you don't, you just need to make a decision. And so I made the decision to change my life. And then my journey started to open. I went on the journey and the pathways just started to open up. In terms of my personal growth, the development, the education, along the way, and it was a long way, along the way, I became engrossed in helping people, finding a passion and purpose to helping people that were going through or are going through the same mental pains as I did. And so I kind of went on this mission then of saying, what can I do? And when you think back to what I've just told you there, that you are here to help us and we are here to help you, this is kind of then what I started putting two and two together and thinking, this is what I'm meant to do. This is my purpose, right, of helping other people. So that's when I went on the journey of this personal growth, education, development, and learning about what it is that I went through and what it is that I need to do to help other people. And of course, I was still going through my personal journeys as well, and you still go through life, and life still hits you, so you're still going through the downfalls and the upsides of life as well, because this is all part and parcel of your life's journey. But the difference is this time I was seeing it from a different perspective. So every time anything hit me that was, ow, that hurts, I could handle it in a different way. I was starting to build up the coping mechanisms and the strategies to deal with them. And so pushing further on now to where I am today, I'm now a wellness life coach and speaker that talks about my story, the downturn in my life to the point of suicide, but then the upturn of what I did to get out of it as well, right? Because there are many people that are still going through, and there will be forever, going through the same crap that I went through when I did. So I know now that I was never meant to check out of this world. I was just meant to go through those pains so I can teach other people.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. It's obviously very sad but also empowering story for a lot of people who listen. I have a question actually, because you went through something where you were about to check out, the life wasn't going your way, what you wanted, and you were ready to do it, and you did at some level with the tablets and the whiskey. And for example, there are other people, maybe they are not ready to check out, but maybe they have a different problems in life, and they are kind of taking it to the level which is too late, or not too late, but it's much more difficult to get out of there. Why do you think people kind of needed that? A lot of people, they need that big moment in their life to kind of wake up in order to make a decision. Why not do it sooner?
The universe is always giving you nudges. It's always hitting you with things. It's always giving you the answers. But if our minds are not quiet enough, we're not going to hear them. Right. And so what ultimately happened to me when I went down to that dark place, I started to find spirituality. And I don't want that to scare people off. I'm not talking religion or whatever. I'm talking, you know, being in touch with myself again, my true self, my higher self, right? The real reason why we're on this planet today, right? The higher consciousness. And so I started to quieten my. So if you can imagine, every single day people are bombarded with social media, busyness at work, or they're arguing with their spouse or whatever, or the partner, the kids are running ragged, right? The car's broken down, or I've not got enough money. That is a lot of noise that's going on, right? And you don't have a second to stop. You don't just have a second to stop. And that was almost my life. And so when I had the ability or took the chance afterwards to just stop and slow down, slow right down, the answers started to come within the silence. And so the answer to the question is, why do people make the decision? I think it's when you've had the real bad kick up the backside from the universe is when you hear the decisions, because it really makes you stop, right? And until but the universe will keep giving you the same lesson over and over and over again until you get it. And if you don't get it, it will kick up the backside to the point when you do. And so it's at that point then when you have to say, well, I need to change my life or make that decision. So it's at whatever point people are, whether they've had the big kick or they're just going through the little kicks right now.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for sharing. Another thing what I was thinking when you had that moment and you had the realization, was there anybody to help you to get you on that personal development journey, or you just went dive into it all by yourself?
Yeah, you see, the thing about mental health, the big thing with mental health problems is that there's stigma attached to it. And you know, we're talking things like there's around 800,000 people a year globally that will take their lives to suicide. That equates to about one person every 40 seconds, right? 75% of all registered suicides are males. And the reason for that is because of the stigma. And stigma translated means disgraced, shamed, right? And so you don't want to admit to being shamed or burdening people with the problems. And so I obviously back then was part of one of these stats, the 75% males. So I didn't want to burden people. I didn't want to show my weakness. Right. Actually, it's not a weakness now when you look at it. So nobody knew that I was going through these struggles and battles. Yeah, okay, they might think I'm having a bad day or a sad day, but not to the point where I had it. So when I felt empowered after this hospital night, when I came out of it, I felt empowered about going on this journey. I had my spiritual team with me, if you like. I had that's what was going to get me through. But then what happens is you just take one step. You make a decision and you take one step in a different direction, and it will lead you to another person. And then that person will open a door to something else. And that door will lead you to another situation or another circumstance. And before you know it, you've got a new circle of friends, the ones that are on your level, the ones that are on your vibration, the ones that now support you, that are in line with the same energies, frequencies, and vibrations as where you are. And so I continued on this path of not so much refusing help, but saying, I'm doing this. Right? I got myself into this mess and I'm doing it. So I didn't have medical help. I didn't go to any doctors and say, I need proper counseling or I need medical help. No, I had the confidence to do it because I'd had that huge wake up call that I just want to do this. But along the way, when I started opening these new doors, people were coming into my life. And these are the people that were sent to me, if you like, for want of a better phrase, were sent to me to enhance my life, to show me different parts of new parts of my life, I'd been introduced to meditation classes.
Mm.
When I was in that meditation group, they did things socially, so then I'd be doing things socially with them. So that was a different group of things. Do you see what I'm saying? So all different situations and circumstances were opening up to me that I'd never been introduced to before. So yeah, I kind of went along the way on my own, but did have various people that came in and out of my life at various parts of it that would help me along. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for sharing. I think like when you mentioned that the biggest thing is to make the decision, either though you don't know how you're gonna get through it, but it's just to make that decision, and suddenly your mind and universe will start giving you those answers because you made this decision and you said like, yes, it is possible to change that, or do something, depends what people are going through, and suddenly there is some kind of way or walk or whatever, however we want to call it, and you find it. Yeah, perfect. Obviously we met through Professional Speaking Association, and you already mentioned that you are a speaker, which I obviously know, and I would like to ask you, why have you decided to become a speaker, and what do you want to accomplish as a speaker?
I think the biggest tool that I've got is my voice. And so I can tell people then my story. I can reach people with my story about how I went down to the pit of my life, but then empower people with the tools within that talk of how I came out of it, given those tools. So I want to spread the word, spread the message, and be an advocate for, mental wellness. So we're all talking about poor mental health, but how's about just talking about mental wellness? But okay, because it's the kind of same thing in the same nutshell, but I prefer to say mental wellness because that's what I then talk about, is the mental wellness aspect of it, is how can we get to the mental wellness stage. And so being a speaker for me, once I decided to do it, was a no-brainer. About getting out there, spreading my message, doing my videos, doing my talks, and just getting across the world to talk about this, because mental health is not biased. It will not isolate itself to the UK. It will not isolate itself just to one country or to one genre, one stereotype of person. Whether you're from China or whatever, or whether you're rich, whether you're poor, it doesn't matter. Everybody has been affected by mental health. In fact, 1 in 4 people in the UK, in any given week, not in UK, in England alone, will report some kind of mental health, right? Whether that's depression or anxiety. That's 1 in 4 people. That's a shocking stat. 1 in 4 people. So the next time you go out there and you're in a group of 4, 5, 6 people, just count the 4 people and groups of 4 people, because this is closer to home than we actually realize sometimes. When we're passing these people on the street, the person who serves you coffee on a morning, the person who stamps your ticket on the train, the one who serves you lunch in a restaurant, everybody possibly is going through something in their life.
Yeah. And that's what you mentioned in 1 in 4. It's in England, right?
Yeah, in England, yeah. Of course, we have stats to go across globally. We've got stats that cover UK as well, but this is just a stat in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like 115 people a week will take their lives in the UK. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah. Okay. I really like when you mentioned about mental wellness rather than call it mental health. It's like when you think of, or at least I'm thinking like wellness. Okay, I'll go to wellness. There's a spa. I can relax. I can go to gym. I can work on myself. And very often, like when I would be thinking about wellness, I'd be thinking about all sorts of physical treatments, what treats my body physically. And when you mentioned about the mental wellness, so we need to also take care about mental and emotional muscles, right? And we need to train them so we are stronger and stronger. Is that kind of the way, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it is. And it is the way that you actually treat yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, down to the self-talk, down to the thoughts that you think. This is all part and parcel of the mental wellness umbrella. The way you, the state that you put yourself in every day as well. You know, down to how literally it is what I've just said about how you talk to people, because the way you talk to people is then going to trigger that person. And if that person then triggers you, you're going to react to it. And then here you go, you've got the vicious cycle, right? So it's about not just going to a spa. It's not just about eating healthy or waking up one morning and saying, today I'm going to think positive, because to me, that's crap, right? Because that alone is not mental wellness, right? Because mental wellness is all about the feeling, right? It's all about the feeling. You've got to put yourself in the feeling aspect of it all. You know, and to become well, to be in that feeling of wellness, you've got to feel well, right? And so this is all about like the law of assumption, right? You've heard everybody talk about the law of attraction. That's crap as well, right? I'm not saying it's crap, I'm not poo-pooing it, but there's a lot more things happen before the law of attraction kicks in. The law of attraction is maybe 3 or 4 down the line. But yet, because of The Secret in 2006 and all that, everybody goes, oh, I'll manifest what I want. That's crap as well. You don't get what you want, you get what you are, right? You get what you are. And if you don't believe me, take a look at your physical surroundings, take a look at your life. That's what you get, what you are. So if you want to attract something, you've got to be it. You've got to be the vibration of it. You've got to start living from a place of the vibration of it. So if you want to be mentally well, you can't be saying, oh, but then I feel crap today or whatever, right? You've got to put yourself in that state of it. That's the mental wellness aspect of it. So if you're in that spa, which you mentioned is a great thing to be doing for mental wellness and body and soul and everything, and God, I love a spa day, right? But when you're there, is not to be laying on that spa bed, then thinking about all the crap that's coming up in your future and all, you know, because that's changing the energy vibration, right? You're there to enjoy yourself. You're there to relax. Okay, so it's about implementing new paradigms, new narratives to reprogram the subconscious brain, because the subconscious brain and the conscious brain, they're like an old man and wife. They're married, right? And the conscious brain tells the subconscious brain what to do, and the subconscious brain will go out and get it, right? So you've got to be careful what you tell from the subconscious brain. You've got to be careful what you tell the subconscious brain, because it will be very loyal. So start reprogramming the subconscious brain. Start reprogramming it, telling it a new narrative, a new story. You know, this story you've been telling yourself all your life: I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm crap, I'm always attracting these bad people. That's a 50-50 choice what you can make to flip that around and saying, I'm always attracting the right great people into my life that are going to take me forward, right? I'm always living in abundance, what have you, right? And at the beginning, it might sound like a lie, because you don't physically have it. But what you will do is start to reprogram the subconscious brain, and the subconscious brain cannot differentiate between what is real and what is not. All right. So it will just be loyal to what the conscious brain is feeding it, and it'll go out and get it. So it's a shift in mindset. That's what it is. And when I say it's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Need to work on that every single day.
Absolutely, every single day. Yeah, it's a habit. Make it a new habit.
Amazing. Before we will finish, I would like to ask you one more question. If there is someone, you know, who is probably struggling like you, or maybe not as much as you did in the past, what would be like one message you would want to share with them to just like, I don't know, stop, or I don't know, something which they can open their eyes a little bit more?
I think this all comes down to, just because you can't see the way out, it doesn't mean that it's not there, right? And this is where we then have to have the unwavering faith and belief of surrender and being brutally honest. Because how many times have we been in a dark place or a tough situation when we're fighting against it? I must do this, I've got to do. The more you fight against it, the more it's going to resist against you, and it's going to keep giving you that crap, right? And so if you're finding yourself in that place, just say to yourself, just because I can't see the way out, it doesn't mean it isn't there, but I've just got to find the way out. And it's about finding that light switch. And that light switch, you can start turning that light switch on by accepting and surrendering to where you are, to your situation. And when you surrender and accept your situation, the universe goes, it just says, finally, I can get in. You can allow the universe in to quieten your mind, to start showing you the answers, the way out.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing. If I have a ask you a favor, if somebody would want to reach out to you because maybe they are afraid to say it publicly in comments or anywhere, would you be open for, I don't know, 10-minute conversation with them if I'll put a link in the description to connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what I'm doing this for, but yeah, of course, anybody.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. And thank you very much for being on my podcast. I'm looking forward to see you soon in person, and because we will.
It will be soon.
Yeah, and have an amazing day.
Yeah, you too. Cheers, Vincent.
Cheers, cheers.